Authority is rarely lost loudly. It doesn't disappear in a scandal. It doesn't collapse in a meeting. And it almost never fails at the moment people think it does. Authority is usually lost quietly. Before the interview, before the appointment, before the promotion, before visibility increases. And by the time a leader realizes they've been passed over, the assessment has already happened. Welcome to the Authority Advantage podcast, where we examine how authority is assessed, tested, and trusted under scrutiny. I'm Modesta Mahiga, CEO of Authority Global, and this is the first episode in a masterclass series on the authority assessment framework. In this series, we're not talking about influence, branding, or visibility. We're talking about how authority is actually judged by boards, institutions, partners, and decision makers, often without them consciously realizing it. Today, I want to introduce a foundational truth. Authority is not claimed. It is assessed. And that assessment happens through 5 silent gates. Most leaders never see them. Most fail without knowing why. Let's begin. The core reframe. Most leaders think authority is something they build through experience, credentials, performance, communication, visibility. Those things matter, but they're inputs, not outcomes. Authority is not something you announce. It is something others decide is safe to trust you with. And crucially, that decision is rarely made in one moment. It's made through a pattern of observation. Before a board endorses you, before a selection committee advances you, before stakeholders defend you, your authority has already passed through several internal tests. I call these assessment gates. They're not formal, they're not written down, but they're remarkably consistent across sectors, geographies, and cultures. Introducing the 5 gates. I'm going to introduce the 5 gates at a high level today, not to teach you how to pass them, but to help you recognize when you're already being evaluated. Gate 1, mandate clarity. This is the first and quietest question. Do we understand what this leader is actually responsible for? Not their title, not their ambition, but their true scope of authority. Leaders often fail here by overreaching rhetorically, underspecifying their role, or blurring personal influence with institutional mandate. When mandate is unclear, authority stalls immediately. Gate 2, coherence. This gate asks, does this leader make sense across contexts? Is the story consistent between CV and biography, online presence and offline reputation, decision-making and communication? Authority weakens when people have to translate you. Strong leaders reduce cognitive load. They are understood quickly and consistently. Gate 3, judgment. This is where authority becomes fragile. The question is not, is this leader smart? It is, do we trust their judgment when conditions change? Judgment is inferred from what you prioritize, what you don't react to, how you speak under uncertainty, what you choose not to say. This gate is decisive and invisible. Gate 4, endurance under scrutiny. Here, the system asks, if this leader is examined more closely, will their authority hold or fracture? This is why visibility accelerates both success and failure. Scrutiny doesn't create weakness. It reveals it. Leaders who haven't cleared earlier gates are often exposed here. Gate 5, trust transfer. The final gate is subtle. If we endorse this leader, does trust transfer or does risk multiply? This is where institutions decide who to protect, who to advance, and who to quietly step away from. By this point, the decision is rarely debated. Why leaders fail quietly. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most authority failures are not caused by incompetence. They're caused by misalignment. Leaders invest in visibility before coherence, messaging before mandate, presence before judgment. And then they're surprised when traction doesn't convert, influence stalls, doors close without explanation. Nothing went wrong. The assessment simply concluded. Why this framework matters. Once you understand that authority is assessed through gates, 3 things change. Number 1, you stop chasing exposure prematurely. Number 2, you recognize risk earlier. Number 3, you design authority intentionally, not reactively. This framework is not about control. It's about stewardship. Authority that holds is authority that has been prepared. In the next episode, we'll talk about why visibility backfires and how leaders lose authority by skipping the assessment phase. For now, I'll leave you with this question. If your authority were being assessed quietly today, which gate would it struggle to pass? That awareness alone changes how you lead. This is the Authority Advantage podcast, where authority is earned and proven. If this episode sharpened how you think about leadership and authority, I invite you to subscribe and leave a review. It helps this work reach leaders who need it and signals that this conversation matters. Thank you for listening. Until next time.